Two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gives in the Bank recruiting podcast brought to you by BuckeyScoop.com. This is a special commitment episode. I am Mark Givler, joined as always by Bill Green. If you're watching this, you now know that Ohio State has landed top 100 defensive lineman Caden Curry out of Center Grove High School, southeast of Indianapolis, Indiana. Announced that here Tuesday afternoon. Huge win for Ohio State, beating Alabama. Got Clemson, Oregon, of course, Indiana was in there, Notre Dame. So big national win. I'll throw it to Bill first. We're going to dive into this and kind of what this means and what they're getting and all that good stuff. Bill, I guess first of all, you've seen Curry's film. You've kind of tracked him over the past 2 years. What do you see there? Is this a D end? Is this a D tackle? Is this a flex guy?
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. The one thing I would say is I always liked him when his name came up, maybe year and a half ago. But I thought he got a lot better as a senior, and I liked him a lot more. In terms of what I like most, I love his quickness off the ball. I love how hard he plays. I mean, I think he's listed. I've seen him listed at 6'4", and he sure doesn't look 6'4" to me on film. He looks like a guy that'll play at Ohio State at like 6'3", 280, 285. I know they're telling him D end. I don't believe. Well, I think he could be a strong side D end in this Knowles system, but I also think he fits the bill for what Larry Johnson wants is that quick tackle. A guy can get off the ball. He plays his tail off. I mean, he plays so hard. Not really super long, not super athletic. I would have him as a cross between Jacoby Cowan and JT Tuimoloau, somewhere in that range, but more toward Tuimoloau. I mean, I love him. I would take him in a minute. I think he's a great get for Ohio State. And, I think this guy's probably going to get on the field fairly early, even though there's going to be a lot of competition with all the young guys they've signed, at that position on the front line there. So, but I like Caden Curry a lot. And I know you do too. You've seen him in person.
Yeah, I got to watch him twice in person. I went down to Indianapolis 2 years in a row for their opener. Yeah, I agree with you. I think quickness and motor are probably his two best strengths. Versatility. He played inside, outside, wherever he was really needed. For Center Grove, won a ton of football games at Center Grove. Maybe the best program in Indiana right now. State champion this year. So a lot to like there. I'm with you. I don't think he's quite 6'4". I don't know which direction this is going to go for him. I'll give kind of two examples of the direction this could go because there's guys that were similar in high school, and one of them went one direction and one of them went another. The first guy he reminded me of, especially as a junior, was I thought I was watching Draymond Jones. And what happened with Draymond was kind of what I think you and I expected to happen to Draymond coming out of St. Ignatius, which is he bulked up and became a 280, 285-pound quick three-tech who could, kick out to the edge in a pinch if you needed him to. That's what I initially saw. But Caden didn't get much bigger as a senior than he was as a junior. I think he's still in that like 245-pound range. I don't think he's a guy who's up to 265, 270 yet. So there are, I think, maybe a question or two of, will he be able to get up to that 280-pound range? And then that kind of brings me to the other guy, which was Tyreek Smith, who played his junior year at Cleveland Heights 10 pounds heavier than he played his senior year at Cleveland Heights. I think we all, or I did at least, I don't know about you, Bill, you may have disagreed, but at one point I thought Tyreek was going to end up as a three-tech because he played his junior year at about 265 pounds at Cleveland Heights. Well, he leaned up between his junior and senior year, played at Cleveland Heights at 255, and he's been an edge player his entire college career. So I think it's going to go one of those directions. I'm just not sure yet. And the Jim Knowles effect is interesting. I don't think Caden's that stand-up edge rusher guy. I think they've got other guys who fit that bill. So I think he could maybe play that strong side end for Knowles, but I also, yeah, again, I could see him being an undersized but incredibly quick defensive tackle.
Yeah,
Yeah. Did you did you think this was coming the whole way? I know I'd kind of been out in front of it. I know you kind of had your
yeah.
guys you were in with on other kids. I never really, I guess, paid too close attention to what you were saying on Curry. I mean, did this catch you by surprise, or was this one you kind of felt they had to go away?
No, I think I started my yes, no, maybe, possibly series back last April, and I think I've had him in the class every one of those updates. I never really bought the Alabama stuff, and I don't know. It just seemed like a fit all the way. I mean, it seemed like he just fit what Ohio State wants, and I think Ohio State clicked a lot of boxes for him, especially fairly close to home. And no, I think I've had him in for probably over a year.
Yeah, they really treated him like an in-state kid.
Yeah,
His family, his grandparents from Ohio. I think mom was born and raised in Ohio. He would tell me about both he and his mom would tell me about how his grandparents would fly out to the Rose Bowl like back in like the '60s and watch Ohio State. So this always kind of felt like it was happening. It just I think it maybe took him longer than people thought, but he's one of those kids who had a process in mind when this thing started, and COVID kind of delayed that for a really long time, and he didn't want to venture away from that process. So here we are, a day before National Signing Day, and he's making his announcement for Ohio State. So better late than never. What do you think this, I guess, means for the class in general? They're still, they're waiting on Amari Abor. They're waiting on Hero Canoe. Um, sure, Eni White's got them in his top four. Shamar Stewart's out there technically, but I guess how important is this? Just given maybe where some of these targets are right now, who have yet to announce, getting Curry in the fold, and do you think this, you know, how important, I guess, would you rank this one versus maybe some of the other commitments they've landed?
I think it's very important. I mean, especially when you piggyback on what they did last year with Tyleek Williams, Mike Hall, Jack Sawyer, and JTT. Now you, because I thought the year before, I thought it was a little weak when they went with the Hamilton, Cowan, Henry trio that I wasn't all that high on. Last year was a total home run, and this year, I think Curry's in the fold. I think they're getting Abor, and I think they're getting Canoe. So this is a heck of a group. I mean, it may not have the star power of last year's group, but it's a lot better than the year before. And I think these guys all end up being contributors at Ohio State. I like every one of them. So I think this is it's an A group for Larry Johnson. I mean, he's done it again. We kind of questioned things a couple of years ago, got beat on some guys, but this year, man, this is. I've always felt it was going to be a great D-line haul. Curry really is a key piece, and now you wait on Abor and Canoe, and I think they're getting both of them.
Yeah, so if they can add those two guys to Curry and Kenyatta Jackson, I mean, to
Sure.
me, I think those guys all fit together. I think that's just as important as anything, is I think they can all play together to an extent. I think
Yeah,
Abor and Jackson are both possible edge guys. I could see Kenyatta being even the stand-up guy. I think he's that athletic.
yes,
Obviously we know Hero Canoe is an interior guy and probably a one tech,
definitely.
which is, I think Hero is the prototype Larry Johnson one tech, because I think everyone thinks of like the nose as some like 350-pound run stuffer that you pull off the field on third and long or whatever. But I don't think Larry Johnson views the position that way. I think he'd like the 300-pound guy who's light on his feet, can still take up a
Right,
little bit of space, but
right.
is going to be an every down player. And so they don't have another guy like that. And so I just think this, and then Curry can kind of be your, Swiss Army knife, can kind of play,
And maybe Abor
inside out.
inside. Abor could be an inside player too. He could be sort of that combo guy as well, just like Curry is. So I like the versatility. I like the talent, and I think it's an A group.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they close on those guys. Again,
Yeah,
I agree with you. I think they will, but it's going to be, we'll see. Hero Canoe's a January 8th. Amari Abor is still like, okay, is he going to sign Wednesday, or is he going to not? Is he going to sign Wednesday quietly and then try to announce later? So there's still, I think there's a lot of mystery left with Amari Abor still, but definitely another good piece with Kenyatta Jackson, and still looking for two more. I'll bring up the elephant in the room. Christian Miller, they're still swinging away there. Any chance?
Yes, yes, he's a major game player. And the thing I always say, every year there are these game player kids, but they do sign somewhere. They all end up signing somewhere. So wherever Kristen Miller is trying to make you think he's going, he's probably not going there. Now I think he's going to Georgia, and that could mean that that's what he wants me to think, and then he goes to somewhere else. So, I always thought USC could get right back in this thing with the star power of Lincoln Riley. It seemed like, boy, that would just fit Kristen to a T. But, we'll see where he ends up. We saw him in camp. I loved the kid in camp. I probably was higher on him than most people were. A lot of people saw him as stiff, and I didn't see him that way. I thought he was pretty athletic and pretty flexible, and I loved everything about Kristen Miller in camp. So, I mean, you add him, and now you take this group from A to A plus, because I think he can play, and I think he's got a chance to be a special player. So, I'm sure they would take him with open arms and break open the bubbly if you get him.
Yeah, I'm still riding with Georgia there, but it is interesting that we've seen Ohio State kind of throw in the towel, I think, a little bit on some other guys. You're not seeing much with Anai White. You're not seeing much with Shamar Stewart anymore. There's a lot of things, a lot of areas where I think Ohio State's kind of cut their losses, but they haven't done that here. So
Right.
while I'm sticking with the Georgia pick, I've kind of said this the whole way. If one guy out there is going to make me look really dumb during this whole process in 2022, it's going to be Christian Miller. He has been really difficult, I think, to read, and obviously, I think he wants it that way and likes it that way,
Yes.
and
Yes.
so mission accomplished. Good job, Christian Miller, for making us all look like idiots throughout this process. But so yeah, we'll see what happens. And he, I believe, is also supposed to announce January 8th. So that's the other thing. Does he sign Wednesday? Probably yes. And then he's got to try and keep that under wraps somehow. Good luck with that. So
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
see. I hope it doesn't leak. These kids, they get their one moment here to kind of do this. So I hope for guys like him and Hero Canoe that, there's some suspense is kept until January 8th, but we'll see how that goes. But clearly, it looks like Ohio State would take 5 along the defensive line if they could. I think it's going to end up being 4, but it looks like they would push us to 5. I mean, do you see a scenario where all these guys would want in and they would turn one away? I don't. I think they would take the 5.
No, none of the ones we've mentioned. No chance. I know they really like Kristen in camp. He and Larry Johnson, I watched them work out together, and man, they really hit it off. There was a great connection there. And like you say, they have kind of cut their losses and realized they weren't in it for some of these other guys. But boy, they've stayed right there with Kristen, and they've done that for a reason. Number one, they think they can get him, and number two, they want him. So they feel there's a fit there.
All right. Well, that'll pretty much wrap us up here. We want to hit on Caden Curry and kind of what Ohio State's getting. We also, obviously, it's going to have every commitment now at this stage of the game is going to have a pretty big impact on how they finish. So we wanted to kind of reassess what's left as well at the defensive line position. So hopefully everyone got some value out of this. Let us know, I guess, in the comments if you enjoyed kind of the commitment update, and if there's anything we can do differently with these commitment breakdowns when they happen. But I think we want to keep doing these as much as we can. So appreciate everyone watching or listening, and we will see you next time.